back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Everyone knows, listen to the show with any consistency, how much I love my USDailyReview.com. Just like the name implies, I check it out daily, so should you. One of the reasons why is Felicia Cravens has contributed some great content. We love when she does that, and she is a contributor on that. Plus, she's a lady of mayhem and pandemonium whenever she has the opportunity to be one when it comes to what's happening in the political front, a pundit, a riot for hire, just all kinds of extraordinary things. How are you doing, Felicia?
A riot for hire. Oh, my stars, I need to amend my business cards now.
That's right, riot for hire. Absolutely. We need more of those in an era where the greatest success is found among community organizers. And so...
Well, you say that, it sounds like I'm such a leftist now.
But
we'll
you're...
protest for food.
You're a right-wing rioter for hire. That's right.
Okay.
So,
but nobody's paying for right-wing rioters, by the way.
Well, I know that because we haven't learned anything from the left yet, which is one of the reasons why we tend to be a shrinking base. But anyway, heard you before talking to my producer Sigmund. You sound kind of upbeat, kind of excited, which is great. Why are you feeling so good these days?
What's really, I guess, fueling some. Irrational exuberance on my part, maybe, is, to throw it back to the business community terms, is the fact that we have this huge discussion right now about liberty, about rights, about expression, about what a large government that's way too big can do to its individual citizens when it gets so big. I think the conversation, though, we've been talking about scandals where the DOJ is, spying on reporters and charging them with conspiracy or considering charging them with conspiracy, all the way to tax-exempt applications being delayed through the IRS. It's a great opportunity to talk about why big government is a failure.
Yeah, and by the way, according to ACLJ, the American Center for Law and Justice, they are still being delayed. Inappropriately delayed. And I had a great conversation with a friend of mine who's been a political activist for years. In his opinion, those 2012 elections should be considered null and void because those organizations did not even have the ability to effectively operate because of the coercive efforts of the IRS. That's a pretty interesting argument.
Well, I think you have to walk a very careful line there because when you're talking about an organization that's applying for tax-exempt status, that they can have some political activity, but not nearly the majority of their activity. It's only a required amount or below. You want to be careful about saying that it affected an election because you're effectively saying that these are ultra-political groups and that their only task was affecting elections.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's a line you want to walk.
I disagree because there's 501c3, which is an education institution, tax-exempt status, but there's 501c4, which doesn't have quite the tax benefits, but there's still tax benefits involved in it, and they can get involved in all issues across the board. And right. they can be as political as they want to be on issues, not parties, not people per se, but on issues, although they can talk about people as it pertains to issues. And so Club for Growth, for example, takes on specific politicians. They do that with 501c4. Not 501c3, but 501c4.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I think there was a whole lot of wing clipping, if you will, when it came to being able to make a stand in 2012.
Well, I agree with you in one sense because it does chill speech and it does chill political speech. And they do that specifically by, diverting people from donating because there's no status attached and donors don't feel comfortable. But there's also this pattern that you see on the left is this administration sharing details, private details of applications and whatever with left groups that then go around and harass donors. I mean, that's sort of the bigger scandal that's extra government, if you will. It's this collusion between left groups and people in the administration and people working in these left nonprofits, as they say, and sharing information around and then targeting particular people to keep donations from going to liberty organizations, rightward-leaning organizations. That's a huge collusion that no one's really talking about because everybody's so shocked that there's profiling in the IRS applications. The bigger scandal to me is what these individuals in government are doing with that information outside of government. That is petrifying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, talking to Felicia Cravens. She's a pundit. She's a activist, and always glad to have her on the program. I read this week at USDailyReview.com that now we're finding out that the most transparent administration in U.S. history now has secret email services that they're using. So when a House Oversight Committee like Darrell Issa, chairman of that, says, hey, we want emails, they were supposed to be on an email system that would be easily obtainable, easily transferable. Now they can be rather selective as to what emails they're sending. How's that for more transparency?
Well, it's that, and it's pretend employees getting awards at for particular government service or whatever, and they're able to have major high-ranking officials with secret emails that they think that they can use to dodge future investigations or questions or whatever. It's heinous. And this culture of big government, I keep coming back to it because people don't see what it actually means when the Tea Party and groups like that say big government is bad. It stifles everything, and it is built so that it can try to evade responsibility. We'll see all these scandals wash through the administration, but there will not be a call, I don't think, that's loudly heard for heads to roll, for firings to happen, for people to take responsibility at the highest levels, and I do mean the highest levels, especially when we have a president who says, I found out about this on TV with the rest of you.
Yeah, I'm
really?
as dumb as the masses.
Yeah, math is hard, and apparently also is taking responsibility.
Yeah. So what about the latest I've heard, and this is now from liberal news sites. I think I saw it in Huffington Post, and I think I saw it in the New York Times that the president wants Eric Holder to resign. The president wants Holder to resign. But, my question is, every president I've been familiar with, and I've been familiar with every president since 1980, and because of my work in Washington, D.C., and worked with friends in the executive branch, one of the very first things you do when you take a position, a cabinet position, is that you write a letter to the president of resignation that he has in his office, in his desk, that he can pull out and put a date on it whenever it's necessary. If he wants him out, first of all, do you believe he wants him out? And second of all, if so, why doesn't he just accept that letter of resignation?
I did not know that was a common practice. I'm glad you told me that.
Oh, it always is. Always. That's the very first thing you do is you give the president an undated letter of resignation.
Wow. Well, and that's fascinating. But look at what all Eric Holder's having to deal with on his plate, so to speak. There's Fast and Furious, and there's the emails, the listening in on AP, attempting to charge James Rosen with Fox News. This scandal, this one particular part with the IRS and with the press dealings and all the things that he's doing ought to be scaring the tar out of the media, and they ought to be calling for that resignation. And I'm not seeing that. You're telling me that now the president sounds like he wants him to leave. That's the first I've heard of this. Everything I understood from all of Eric Holder's statements before was this guy was in for the long haul. He had a deep investment in making sure Fast and Furious didn't get anywhere. It got stonewalled. And now it would be a press scandal that may bring him down, but I'm not hearing the press really getting behind this.
Yeah, I find it odd. How much does the press have to be injured before they realize that they are going to be subject to the same tyranny the rest of us have been subject to?
Well, and that's a great point, because the First Amendment covers religion, speech, press, assembly. And what is the press looking at here? they figure any other abridgment of any other part of the First Amendment is just fine with them, and they'll roll with it. They'll go with campus speech codes. They'll go with decisions on campaign finance reform. But when you attack the press, all of a sudden the First Amendment becomes important.
Yep. All right. Been talking to Felicia Cravens. We've been having a lot of fun talking about what's happening out there in the political front. This guy probably ain't going to go anywhere. But the big news that we haven't seen yet, assuming that the American people can maintain a attention span longer than a gnat, is that what went from a situation in which Obama was working very hard to get majorities in both houses of Congress is likely going to be a situation where at least the GOP maintains control of the House. And who knows, since there is, I believe, a 1.5 to 1 advantage for Republicans in the Senate races for 2014, who knows? Maybe we pull off the Senate as well. It'll be interesting to see. But that alone has changed a lot. If he did get control of both houses of Congress, God help us all, total tyranny, in my opinion, would break loose. Felicia Cravens is great. Make sure you check her out over at usdailyreview.com. Where else do you want him to go?
I'm at freeradicalnetwork.com as well, and all over the internet, Facebook, Twitter. Look me up.
Thanks so much. When we come back, we're going to have more for you. Do want to remind you the best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter.
It's been getting so hard living with the things you do to me. My things are getting so strange. I like